Good Monday morning, everyone. Oh my gosh, it's already August 25th, you guys. Where has the year gone? I feel like just yesterday it was like January or February. Crazy. And it feels like summer finally has hit Texas. It's no longer raining and it's hot as hell outside. But we'll dive all into that. So you guys listening to Author Talk with me, Amy, Russell, and Valerie. It is just us today catching up, having a good chat. We're diving into some more topics that me and Russell have been on and on about. But first, let's talk about our weekend, you guys. So I have good and bad news. So I like to start with the bad news first. Unfortunately, you guys she was a huge fan of the show. She was on the show. We used to do Author Talk shorts together. Roxanne Berkey has passed away. So keep her family, your thoughts in your prayers. It was a sudden kind of thing. So that happened. But today is Sky's 5th birthday, you guys. I cannot believe it. On top of that, I actually found out that it's also the day that Harvey made landfall in 2017. How crazy is that? I have this whirlwind of a child born on the same day of like friggin' Harvey. So that was intense. That was a crazy fun fact. But we did her birthday party this weekend, which was Stitch theme. I have photos that I will post up. I did a big balloon art. I did palm tree balloons, you guys, and I know they sound just as awesome as I'm making them because they're freaking cool. They were in my office last week. But anyway, so we did that. We had her classmates come from school today. I'm going to bring her up cupcakes so she can share with her classmates that didn't get to make it. So other than that, on Friday, we were just recuperating from the water slide. I'm not as young as I once was, okay? And going down those friggin' inflatable water slides is intense. The little narrow hallway to get up to the damn thing. And then when you slide down, you really just knock into it. So I'm recovering from that. But she had a great weekend. And then we're going to celebrate more this afternoon when she gets home. But that was my weekend in a nutshell. So what all did you guys do this weekend?
Valerie, brag a little bit.
Okay. Amy, I'm having flashbacks to when my kids had their birthday parties because we're, like 3 out of the 4 are in August. So totally can relate. Totally can relate.
Yeah.
And you're trying to make everybody have a good time and you're just like, we're all so hot. Oh my gosh. So hot.
That's why there was the water slide. We had to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. We actually went to the beach because this was the first weekend that we didn't have to do something with a child, like moving them out of an apartment, moving them into an apartment, driving back and forth to San Antonio. So we're like, we're going to go to the beach and do nothing. Nothing.
Well, and it was like clear. It was clear water in Galveston this weekend, which is crazy.
Yeah, you could go up to like your waist and you could see all the way to the bottom. So we just kind of vegged out and did some little yard work on the beach house and stuff like that. Yeah, it was very nice to do nothing.
That reminds me that when Amy was talking about Harvey, I remember after it hit landfall, it still took a long time to creep toward the destruction of Houston. And I remember you going to the store to get water, and the man in front of you bought all the water in the grocery store, and you weren't able to get any. Do you remember that?
I do.
Oh, yeah.
It was my first and only hurricane, and it was people like literally just went crazy. I didn't understand it, but they did. They just went crazy. Kind of like, with when COVID happened and everyone bought up toilet paper and stuff, which was just weird. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Harvey is like a memory in my life that I have. It was an
That's when you were in Clear Lake, right?
Yeah,
you were in Clear Lake.
Yeah, I don't care to have that that experience again because we were in the biggest section, so it had gotten like 55 plus inches of rain. It took like a week for everything to go down. I had so many people in my apartment because the first floor was starting to flood. I had so many animals. The guy below me was having a freaking hurricane party, so they all had to come up there. So I had like 600 square feet. I had like 13 people in my apartment, like 5 animals or 7 animals. It was just intense. It was crazy. So, but it makes
Yeah,
sense why Sky was born on the 25th because she is a little hurricane. So it makes perfect
yeah.
sense.
And you know
So
what?
maybe,
And that just I had a little flashback too. We volunteered at our church because we didn't get as hit hard on this side of town, and so but we volunteered at our church, and our church, in accordance with the Mormon church across the street, we became the distribution center for clothing and food and medical care and all this stuff because we were, I guess, a Red Cross center or something, and we were up there volunteering, sorting clothes, all these things. It was amazing. People were driving from Austin and everywhere to help out Houston, and they'd be coming like, "We have all these things in our car. Where do you want them?" And you're like, "Great!" But it was very nice to see the whole community come together after such a tragedy.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
think that was
changed my life.
Really.
I did working for the next couple of months helping strangers changed my life because it was I'd never done anything like that hard, that long, that
Oh,
helpful. It's not in my nature. It was it was a real life changing experience, which is why I wrote about it in my book because
mhm,
I wanted to record it, the experiences,
mhm,
so I wouldn't forget it. But
mhm,
I mean, we need to thank the people that are listening to us. We're like top 10% in some channels, top 1% in others, and we would very much appreciate you listening to us. For a long time after we were on podcast channels, I couldn't find us, but now not only can you find us, but I can even find us. Amy, where do they find us?
yeah. So you can find us anywhere that you can search for a podcast. My go to is Amazon Music, Spotify, Good Pods, any one of those. Type in author talk, look for the crimson, red, and gold. You will find us. You can hear every episode that we've ever done in our like coming up on 9 years, or it has been 9 years. On top of that, you can come over to any one of our social media channels, our Facebook group, our YouTube channel, engage and interact with us. Me and Valerie are pretty animated when we talk. And so you can, come and laugh at us or with us. Generally, we're doing the same. So it's, come on over, but we've had a lot of fun doing it. And so it's fun to see how it started to where it is now. So it's just a fun journey. But today it is just us, me, Russell, and Valerie. We're just catching up, hitting everything, and just seeing what's happening in the world. But Russell brought to our attention this article, which goes off of a topic that me and Russell have been going back and forth on for a long time now. We had Lacey on last week talking about some of the differences and some of the things that happens within the romance just arena itself. And so this kind of ties into it. So Russell, tell us about this New York Times article, and then we'll all kind of talk about it because I'm interested in the book, not gonna lie to you.
Okay, first, read the title of the article, Amy. You really
Okay.
thought that was funny.
It was hilarious. Says why magic, dragons, and explicit sex are in bookstores everywhere.
This is was in the New York Times yesterday. So if this is the 25th of August, it'll be in the August 24th edition. You should look it up and read it, or you can look it up if and Amy, how do you get through the paywall on this? You were explaining it to Valerie.
Oh
If
yeah,
they
you
want to
had
read
it.
this.
Yeah, it's a New York Times article. So what you do is you give them your email. You don't have to subscribe to anything. Hit continue without subscribing, and then go through all the motions, and then hit go back to article. So I posted the link in the chat. It's in all of the comment section for you guys to read. But that's the art. It's worth doing. Like it's worth going through and putting your email and not signing up to read it. It is a good article.
Okay, so this is an article about the article says romance fantasy is now 80% of book sales
Uh-huh.
currently, which I don't believe, but it's in the New York Times. Do you believe that, Valerie?
I don't see why not. I mean, everything
I
keeps,
definitely
you know,
do.
it's been building up, I think, through the years of just all kind of different um just opportunities to read things like that.
So all genres. What the New York Times just said, and you're saying
And
you
you know
believe
what else
all
the
genres, all the books sold, 80% of them is in the romance fantasy genre. That you
Mhm.
Yeah.
believe,
And
you agree with that from the New York Times.
you know what else is interesting and probably why this is so successful is that all the kids who grew up on Harry Potter are now um, in their, late 20s or, something like that. So they still connect with these characters and they grew up in these settings. And so why not evolve, into a different world and then a grown-up atmosphere?
Well, here's the problem with that, except until now, is legally all the fiction where you would start writing those type of stories based upon some background of novels, the they're copyrighted, so you can't actually publish that stuff. And this article discusses that. But uh, the original author, Rowling, gave them permission to publish it as long as it's not hardcore pornography. And so now there's this whole new genre coming out of basically Hermione and Draco romance stories.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, it's fan fiction stories is what it
Yes.
is. I mean, they've had like Twilight versions of it and things like that, but this one, I mean, I grew up with Harry Potter and everything. So I mean, I feel like most Harry Potter lovers are in their 30s, they're late, I'm not even going to say late. I'm just going to say 30s and up, okay? That's how we're going to say it. But we grew up with that, and so we all have our own kind of, like, I guess, story, like, spin-offs from it. But
Mhm.
Harry Potter has made like a big comeback. Like, they're doing Harry Potter purses and all those things. So it's made like
Yeah.
kind of a revamp because they're doing that TV series for it. And so they've kind of revamped it and made it more popular, which maybe is feeding into it. But I mean, they fanfic is definitely a thing. Fanfic, Russell, sometimes is on those apps that I was telling you about, I don't know, a couple months ago. A lot of those are fanfic to go with it.
Okay. Lacey was doing that last week where you use hyphenated uh,
Mhm.
compound words that are supposed to tell the rest of his stuff. In
Yeah.
fact, Lacey was using it all over the place. I could hardly understand some of her sentences sometimes because she had so many hyphen contracted words.
Yeah.
And that's not a criticism to Lacey because thank you for introducing us to them. But uh, now they're publishing books, and it's become you read this article. What is the name of the Hermione Draco genre that is now a complete new genre, and it's pretty pornographic?
Dramione? Germini is what she says. Like, she keeps seeing posts about Germini all over her feed, right? Which is like the combination of Draco and Hermione, because that's the love story, right?
Right.
And then it says that it's like,
Harmony.
they're obviously older and they kind of go through it. And it's more like, here, I'll just read this whole, like, it's a small paragraph, but I'm gonna read it. It says, keep seeing posts about Hermione all over her feed. People on TikTok were raving about this story set in the world of Harry Potter, written by fans that imagined a romance between the bookish Hermione and her antagonist, the arrogant bully Draco. But it goes on to say, like, they came up with this whole plot, right? Of like how she's a magical being, whereas it says Hermione, a magic wielding hero, and Draco, a vicious executioner who later holds Hermione captive as a prisoner of war. So it's almost like a spin off of like a mafia romance, because that's generally how those happen, right? So it's almost like a spin off of that in a fantasy realm, the magical world of Harry Potter is kind of how it is. But this is the sentence that had me laughing. I was telling Russell about had me laughing. It says the characters were a little older, but a lot hotter. they were the cast and decidedly more. They're just in more adult like scenarios, which is a
Yeah,
hard word.
the article compares it to Shades of Grey.
It does. It compares it to that for sure. And then this lady even goes on to talk about how the books fully consumed her. And she says that she defines her life as before and after this book. And she was saying, you know, how some people say their life is before and after Christ, is how she kind of went on to compare it. But this is the best part here. She went on to get tattoos of this book,
Yes. And the
which feeds.
picture of the tattoo is in the article and posted on our page.
It is. And it feeds the conversation me and Russell have been having that he was not aware of. Romance readers and authors are notorious for this. It's just a whole thing. Fantasy itself has some like it, but not in the way that romance authors have it. Now, I read a lot of romance. I'm not necessarily into romanticises, which is romance fantasies. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I'll read like werewolves and stuff, but that's only because it's more like, I don't know, there's always wars and there's violence. So maybe that I have a problem there, I guess. But yeah, I've never thought of getting a tattoo. Honestly, I'd probably get a tattoo more of like my kids or something than a book. That's just who I am. But in the romance arena, every friggin' subgenre of romance, you're going to meet someone that has a tattoo that deals with a book, primarily in dark romance. And this is a dark romantasy, obviously, but still, it's interesting.
And in the article, it discusses not festivals, but meeting the author events that these people drove from Toronto to New York. It took them 10 hours to drive it, and meeting the author and the whole event was the greatest moment in these women's lives, according to them. That's
It's
stunning.
crazy. It's insane. I'm telling you, never underestimate the dedication of your fans, but of romance authors or like readers. Just never underestimate that because it's an intense love. It's borderline stalking. It's an intense love that romance readers have for their authors that they like will eat, breathe, and sleep. It's intense.
I believe that.
So read, if you would, Amy, the paragraph that talks about the new book that they're all excited about, and how many was the first edition and the second edition.
Oh yeah, so it says the new version of the story is soon to be released as Alchemized. I think I'm saying that right. And the novel's publisher, Del Rey, is betting that the feverish devotion to its fanfic predecessor will translate into a blockbuster sales. Del Rey has ordered a first printing run of 750,000 copies for the novel's released and it won't come out till late September. And it's already lined up to be translated into 21 languages. That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. Because then it goes on to say, besides of appealing to hordes of existing fans, this book has another advantage. It taps into the raging appetite for romantasy, a subgenre that blends fantasy elements like magic, fairies, and dragons with love, yearning, and explicit sex. It literally just ends explicit sex. Explicit sex scenes for
so
sure.
if they make this, so if this is as big as they're predicting, and then do we not assume they're going to make it video too? And how do you make a Harry Potter book with explicit sex and make it a movie?
Well, I don't think they're going to do that because it's.
You don't think Rowling would let that happen?
I don't think. Well, I don't think we're going to do that because it's a fanfic, or fan fiction. So it's not like J.K. Rowling doing it. And it's interesting when you're doing fan fiction, you really have to position it as fan fiction so you don't get in trouble. So the characters have to kind of be a little bit different because you don't want to get in trouble. Like with J.K.
Rowling's
Rowling,
give them permission to do this stuff, according to
so
the
she
article.
gave them permission,
to a level,
stuff, which is good. But generally, fanfics, if it's going to be produced into a movie, it's going to be like a B movie or be on like Passion Flicks, right? Which is like where a lot of romance books that get turned into movies are on Passion Flix, which is a free like
What's
streaming.
that?
It's a free
I
like
don't know what that is.
streaming service. Yeah, so there's not Dante's Inferno, but there's like Inferno of Dante or something, which is like notorious. Everybody in the romance like knows that book. I always flip it though. They're on there, and
It's
it's
not
like
going to
when
be
they
the Hallmark Channel.
no, it's definitely not the Hallmark Channel, but like these books get made into these films. But you have to understand, I'm a huge fan of B movies. I think they're great. I like to have a good laugh half the time. Passion Flix is going to be that. It's like an independent film B version, however you want to put it together. It could get made into that and be on there, but I don't think it's going to make it to like a TV series. I think it's just going to be create like some buzz and stuff around fan fiction and make it where it brings more awareness. But these kind of novels and stuff have been out for a long time. They're just on these apps like Dream or Web Novel. There's specific ones for romance, there's specific subgenre ones for romanticities. They're huge. So it just depends on the universe within that Harry Potter that she creates. But I don't think it'll make a film for sure.
Well, I would have agreed with you a few months ago before all the constant feeding of all this news about it. I don't know anymore. Now it's a major article in the New York Times. Uh,
True.
you're going to have millions of this book sold. I mean, uh, streamers are constantly looking for uh, what new stories to video and to stream, and you have a book with millions of people and permission from the copyright holder. Ugh, I don't
Yeah,
know.
but that's what I'm saying. I think if it does get turned into a film, it'll be a film that's on like Passion Flicks and not one that's like going to be in the movie theaters and stuff because it'll be explicit for that. I think just because it is a fanfic kind of option for it. Because like the TV series is already going to be kind of like a spinoff of the movies, but it'll be different. But there's not based on a book, right? Well, fanfic is based on this book, just the outcome that they wanted to see or how they wanted those characters to go. I think that's the difference between it. But I don't know. I mean, we'll see because TikTok has made it where that Twisted Love books, which I have my own personal feelings about, is getting a Netflix series or movie. And then you had the It Ends With Us, which was by Colleen Hoover, but only got a movie deal and stuff because it became so popular on TikTok within this romantic, like romance book talk, right? So, I mean, you have those things. So, I mean, I'm not going to say never, but I think if it did, it would wind up on Passion Flix. I don't think it would be one for the movies. I don't think Netflix or anybody like that's going to take it on, to be honest. Yeah. Like, I think it was a big deal that Netflix did like 365 days, which is a Polish book written, and it's like a mafia erotic book. And they had three or two of those, and Netflix did it, but it was Netflix over in Poland that did it because it ends up having to be dubbed over. So I don't know, but I don't think it'll be like going to the movies, to be honest. But yeah, no,
Okay,
this is crazy.
right. Which is propitious since we've been talking about it so much. It seems like this is a subject that continually sucks us back into it. So who knows what our subject will be next week?
It is a big hole. It's a big hole. And once you go down romance and you have read romance, it's intense. Like I'm reading Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlson or Carlton. I don't know. I'll post it. And it's my first like paranormal psychological thriller romance. And it's intense. Like by chapter 9, I'm already kind of like this is pretty dark. So I mean it's once you dip your toe in the water, you kind of want to see how far in the water you can go. That's the problem with romance genre is it's not just like a one and then you're going to move back into something else. You kind of want to push your boundaries to see how far you can go. That's the difference between, I would say, romance and any other genre, in my opinion.
Even when I read Lights Out, the disclaimers were like 20 minutes long on the audiobook, and I was like, okay, okay,
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess I
Oh, the
don't.
disclaimers, Valerie.
The
Yeah.
trigger warnings.
See
Yeah.
the
And I was
trigger
like,
warnings.
okay, I did because this I'm used to reading a different kind of romance or maybe a little spicy, but that was like, okay, what are we getting into
Did
here when it
you
has
did
like
you
20
like
minutes of
that?
disclaimer?
Did you like that book?
There were parts I fast forwarded because I was like,
Yeah. Yeah. That one
the
that
characters were
one
good,
yeah, it's more like the
but
humor, the banter. I think the banter was written really nicely, but as far as
yeah,
like everything else, unless you have like that specific kink, it's not the best book I've read. Caught Up is
exactly.
like was a huge disappointment for everyone that read Lights Out, so it's like it's just
Okay, because
interesting.
I didn't feel compelled to go read the next one.
I didn't
That
either. I did
I
not
didn't.
either.
I was
And
like, and I know it's super popular.
all of this is New York Times.
I
It's
mean, they're
all
all
moved
in
into
there.
the New York Times. It's
It
all
all feeds into that genre, yeah, like, that's
right.
the
Yeah.
crazy part of it. So, I don't
Okay.
know. Yeah.
I would like Valerie to tell us about her deli article that
Yeah, yeah.
she has posted and where people can find it, and tell us about the experience before we run out,
Well,
because
I
I think this was
yeah.
a great thing that you wrote an article about.
Yeah, it was a great experience. Kenny and Ziggy's deli here in Houston. He's very, very well known. He's actually had a documentary made about him for being a life a generational deli man, and all the authenticity he puts into his food. But he this was the 10th anniversary of him hosting Holocaust survivors for a luncheon. Um, and during National Deli Month, where they do give back a portion of to an organization. I'm sorry, right off the top of my head. But the for me, I would they invited the media to come and just join and meet some of these Holocaust survivors, which was amazing. Because I was like, when in your life are you going to have a chance to meet someone like this? And so, I was there sitting next to the oldest person in the room. He was 96. His name was Ben. And then all the table, all the ladies and gentlemen all had so many stories to share, and I was like, these are priceless stories. And then the fact that they were true life stories, um and they were like so vivid in their minds, just that they cannot even stop. But yeah, so the promotion for National Deli Month is still going on at Kenny and Ziggy's here in Houston, and you can go support that. But one of the ladies I met, her name was Ruth Steinfeld, and she is very, very well known. She's actually been on I'm sorry, national news for her story, and I'm sure some movies were inspired by her story. She was talking about how her and her sister were German Jews, if I remember correctly, and then her mother smuggled them out. And they were to a French family, and then she was raised Catholic. She was only 7 years old, and the last thing she remembers her mom is saying, "Goodbye, we'll see you soon." And then she finds out later her parents were killed in Auschwitz. So I was so compelled by her story and so many other stories. I mean, we had people from Warsaw, and the fellow Ben next to me, he had gotten arrested at 13 and then worked in a bakery, and then he was liberated, if I remember right, by the Russians. There was a lot of stories being told, which was so great. But Miss Steinfeld, I went ahead and got her book. It was called Forgive but Never Forget. And then while we were there, I had her, she was writing down all these different information things she wanted me to know about her experience. And so I cut out, I had her sign a little piece of paper, and then I taped it inside her book. So I have her actual autograph here for her book. But wow, wow. I mean, amazing, amazing piece of history. Just just right here. And and that happens, I feel like, a lot with just even maybe a hurricane survivor, or domestic violence, or all these different things, that stories that are important to share and to know that affect us in so many ways.
So, what did you eat while you were there? It's
Oh,
actually been
well,
on television
Ziggy,
before because it's so famous. Did you try the pastrami
yeah.
that's made there?
No, he is super well known for making his corned beef and all his meats all there on site. And even oh my God. Okay, so he had a whole spread of like a buffet line for all the people coming through, and they had the I think it was the challah rolls, and then and then they had some noodles. I don't even know the right names of it, but there was noodle koodle, and that was like that I heard someone remark saying this tastes like my grandma's. And for someone, in their 90s or late 80s saying this tastes like my grandma's, how amazing is that? That they can even have these vivid memories of not only being the survivor, but memories of your family. And then they had chopped liver on the table, which I served with bagel slices, and everybody was eating that up. And they're like, you have to have this because I was like I felt like I was somebody's grandkid, and so they're like, are you eating this? Are you eating this? Are you eating this? And so it was great, just to experience all that.
So, how do you write it? How'd you go home and
Um,
write that article? What did you do?
well, I get a lot of press releases, and so I just put all the pieces together, and then just try to get people to go out and support. What was I wasn't able to include is that in the releases, they sent me a lot of these people's bios, and I would have loved to have like just giant space to include all their bios because it told their whole history of how that came together, and how they were survived the Holocaust. And then there was the executive director from the Holocaust Museum Houston was there. And so all of these people, they have all of their stories from what I understand, there. And so that's why they come to support as well. And you can go there and hear more.
So,
Nice.
that's beautiful.
Yeah, it was a great day. It was a great day. It was very uplifting day because just to know that they survived and they lived their life, and here they are like 93 and 96, and so great.
And we have
Great.
a Holocaust museum here in Houston, right?
Yes, yes, yes. It's down by the museum district. It's really, really close by the Children's Museum of Houston. Um, and on Thursdays, from what I understand, a lot of the museums still celebrate the free entry. So you can really take advantage of a lot of museums on a Thursday.
I usually try to avoid free entry. It's less crowded on non-free entry days.
Well, that don't do the zoo. We did that one time, and that was a nightmare. We were like, never, ever, 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 ever again. It was like, I don't know, like some kind of holiday, like MLK Day or something. We're like, and the kids were little. I was like, let's go to the zoo. It'll be great. Just like the whole city of Houston. Never again.
Right. It's like, why would anyone go to the zoo during August in Houston? That's not something you do. You go in February or January, not
Yes,
August.
yes,
That's fair.
yes,
Nobody
for
should go to
sure.
the zoo in August. It's too hot,
Yes. Oh no,
which
Well,
might
no.
make it
yeah.
a good time to go.
I mean, to
On
be
the-
fair, I went to the Waco Zoo in August, but it was a lot more shadier and smaller.
Well, aren't the animals? You're usually asleep because they're hot. They're just like,
Yeah, you have to go in the morning. You have to go
yeah.
yeah,
in the morning, like, right when it opens before. But no, I learned that lesson because I looked up the free days that they had at the zoo for the girls to take them, like, during the summer for something to do, but you have to look the month before for, like, to book a spot for the next month. So if I wanted August, I had to look in July to book for August on, like, their Tuesday days or whatever. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, so I can't. That's not a life for me. So I'll just pay to go. I'll just pay to go, to be
right.
honest.
Yes.
You know, I even though I'm an old man, I'm actually having to consider those sort of things now because I have these granddaughters and I want
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
introduce them to Shakespeare and opera. Uh, and so I have to look far enough ahead to find out where the kids' days, like there's a September Opera Kid Day
Oh,
where the Houston Opera Company has a kids thing, and it's all designed to introduce kids to opera for the first time. And uh, for Shakespeare, I have to do that too. And that's something I have to plan ahead because I've got to find out when it is, get permission from their mom and dad, ease into getting them to say, yeah, they want to do it. So it's a lot of work for grandpa to get that. So I actually have to plan a couple months
Yeah,
ahead for that kind of stuff.
I think,
it's
Russell,
hard.
in February, the opera is doing the Kids Day thing again. And from what I understand, last time it sold out super fast.
Yeah, it's a big deal if you want. It's the best way to introduce your children to the opera or to Shakespeare when they have those. And
Mhm.
right, like right now, I have three granddaughters. If I can get just one to like opera out of three, then I'm doing great as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's a win. That's a
Yeah,
win right
Heck yeah.
there.
just one, not
Yeah,
all
I
Hey,
feel you.
three.
I feel
and I
you.
don't know if you know, but during summer when they have summer programming at public libraries, the opera and different theaters do performances for free, and sometimes even at Miller Outdoor Theater, you can catch a good
Well, during the
thing like that.
Shakespeare Festival, I'm very aware of it. The trouble
Hmm.
was that my granddaughter, that's old enough to go, and I had all these plans, was at summer camp all
Oh yeah.
during the Shakespeare Festival. So I
Mm,
missed my opportunity this summer. So I have to plan ahead for next summer to see if
yeah.
I can manipulate her parents not to have her at camp at the same time Shakespeare Festival is. So it's going to be quite
Fair.
a look at planning ahead problem for me. And
Okay.
Yeah.
again, three granddaughters right now. I only hope to get one to love Shakespeare. I'm batting a
That's
thousand to
reasonable.
get one out
That
of
is a
three.
reasonable goal, I would say.
Yeah.
Out of 3 getting
I think
1,
so.
you should accomplish that for
Oh
sure.
yeah, and the whole war plan was that because it's at Miller Outdoor Theater, Valerie. So
Hmm.
I'd already talked to her. We're going to go to the butterfly, whatever it is, where they have the beautiful butterflies. I was going to
Hmm.
take her to her favorite Chick-fil-A restaurant
Yeah.
for dinner, and then go to the Shakespeare Carnival is what I got it. The
Oh,
Shakespeare
cool.
Carnival, because they have little booths there for the kids to love.
Fun.
And so she had already said, "Oh, I'm so excited. I want to do that." And then she's out of town.
I don't
That's
know. For
rough.
me, loving Shakespeare, I think it was that original Romeo and Juliet movie way back in the day with was it Olivia and then Leonardo somebody. You know which one I'm talking about from like
DiCaprio, yes.
1976 or
Leonardo
so?
DiCaprio where they had, like, guns where they had, like,
No,
guns and
no, no,
stuff? That
no,
one's
no, no, no,
funny.
no.
Okay.
I'm talking way, way, way back. Way back. Do you know which one I'm
No.
talking about, Russell? The Romeo and Juliet movie
I
goes way
probably
back.
actually watched it. It's not DiCaprio though. It was an
No,
older
no.
actor, much older.
Yes.
Probably the same one who did all the Shakespeare stuff. Oliver, what's his name? The English actor?
Mm.
I don't
I don't
know.
know, but the girl was
Anyway,
very
it's probably done in
young.
this, it's probably the 67, 68 version, right?
Yes, yes, I think that's
Yes, I know
right.
about that version. That was a big hit, by the way.
Oh, yeah. They even showed it to us in high school.
Yes. I
What, you
don't
guys
approve
didn't
of
like the
the
Leonardo DiCaprio one where it was the 2 gangs and they had guns and it was like modern day? Y'all didn't like that one?
modern
I
versions of
didn't either.
Shakespeare's is really good. I don't disapprove of them because it's some way to introduce kids correctly to it.
Yes, yes. I
Uh,
don't
Yeah.
know if I've seen that one actually, Amy. I don't think I've seen it.
It's pretty epic. I mean, it I think for someone like me growing up, you could relate,
What
not necessarily like the whole gang thing, but for that like time period, right? Like when they were
was it?
filming it, that time period, you had like the Bloods and the Crips, right? So it was kind of like that with Romeo and Juliet. So they were using the same Shakespearean language, but then they had like guns and like music, and it didn't
Was that
correlate. So it was
girl
kind of it was more funny.
was it that actress Claire somebody in it? She was very fair. with kind of
We
like
obviously don't know our actors and actresses very
We're
well,
terrible.
Valerie.
We're just
We're terrible
terrible.
about this.
I
Richard
know
the
I used
Third
to know.
actually did a modern version of Richard the Third. They did a version of it where it was in the 30s. So I love that movie. I've watched that like 7 or 8 times.
Yeah, so it was Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes is who was
Ah,
in
I
it.
got it. I got it. See, I was
Yeah, because
close.
yeah, Paul Rudd's in it. It was more on like that kind of
I
side. It
bet
was
I
like a
saw that
modern
then for
take.
sure. Yeah, I probably
Yeah,
did.
it was just interesting. It was an interesting modern take on it for
A-
sure. So
Anyway, I have to look. I have to plan ahead like you guys too now for those sort of things.
I like it. We can all bond on having to think like months in
I don't have to
advance.
plan anything. My kids are grown.
Oh, I have to
Yeah, but
plan.
once you have grandkids, everything will flip again.
I
And see, I
Come
know.
used to think
around.
that way, and I would never have anything to do with kids anymore because I was done with them. I had raised my kids and I was done. And I look at me now. I like move halfway across the United States so I can be closer to them. It's insane.
And you love it. You love it. I'm here for it.
Oh yeah.
I am here
Yeah.
for it. Oh, man. I don't know. I don't know, Valerie, if you've experienced this. I have experienced and I have seen it that the writing community as a whole is changing rapidly on how like popular things are and the length in which things are popular, right? So just to
Mhm.
close this out before so Russell doesn't give me a nasty look. But like before when you'd publish a book, generally like you had about like 4 months before the book was old, right? And then you could
Mhm.
revisit that by like bringing it back up for reviews and updated covers and those kinds of things to kind of give it a fresh look to do it. But now I'm telling you, if it's not like circling on TikTok at the time, it's not that it's dead in the water. It's much more difficult within this romance community. It's much more difficult. You're going to have a lot more success going over there on TikTok, which is the only author I would send to TikTok is a romance author because I don't know if you don't agree with me, that's cool. But TikTok romance friggin' dominates TikTok. I don't care who you are, it dominates TikTok. The
This New York
romanticities,
Times article wrote about that. It
yeah,
discussed
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
it
Mhm.
dominates it. Like no other genre of book will be successful on TikTok. So if you're not in a romance arena, don't even play with it because they just dominate hard. So it's just an interesting thing. But within the romance community, I mean, man, that thing is it's intense. The writing community in itself is always ever changing, but it just seems to be more rapidly changing now. And to have success, you have to, within the romance, be on TikTok or send off to these book talk reviewers to get any kind
Mhm.
of traction. And I don't know, it's just crazy. It's changed the marketing game plan for these genres, these books. It's
Mhm.
changed people's writing opinions when you have people that have never written romance diving into that because it is just a huge market. It's crazy. It is an insane
My genre was
Katie,
hard.
I know,
Yeah.
and I'm shocked that Valerie so quickly said she believes it. Just shocked the New York Times wrote that 80% of book sales now are the subgenre romance fantasy. That means 80% of the books in the United States are that subgenre. That's stunning.
yeah. Well, but Russell, think about it though. It's not surprising because you have fantasy lovers who love magic and fairies and wizards and dragons and all these things. And if you combine that with some kind of love interest or love triangle or
Or
battle,
porn. Or
well, I
porn.
mean, I wasn't going the porn route. I was going more the
That's what
battle.
the article
No.
does.
It
And
said
and again,
erotica. No,
yes.
it said
But again,
erotica,
these
not porn.
these are still the same audience that grew up on Twilight, that grew up on Harry Potter, that grew up on all these
Yeah.
things. So these people are older now and they want more. And so they've already been introduced to that and they're open to it. And so why not get a little, extra for your money, so now that you're older and say, yes, yes,
That's
I
such a
love
nice
that.
way of
These
saying it,
characters.
Valerie. That's nice. But Russell, you do also know that the age that reads YA isn't YA, right? It isn't really a young adult. It's
True.
anyone from the
Mhm,
ages of 23 all the way up to 45 that reads,
mhm,
young adult books, primarily young adult fantasies, which is
mhm.
what Harry Potter and Twilight are. They're young adult
Yes,
fantasy or paranormal. So it's like
yes,
it makes sense then to turn that into the romance because that age is what they're looking for.
yes.
It's insane,
Yeah,
but it
even
makes
when
sense.
Twilight was first popular, before I had a friend who would read stuff before she let her daughter read it, and she was like, "I am loving these books so much. I can't, yeah, it's okay for her to read it, but I love these books." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
It's
okay."
crazy.
But
It's just
I was watching one of
crazy.
the movies the other day, and I was like, "Click, I can't."
Oh, the movies are terrible, the books are better. Like, the
Terrible.
only one
Yes.
that's close is the Harry Potter movies are pretty damn good as the books.
Y
Twilight, the
Yeah,
books are better than the movies, like, hands down.
yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, it
So
makes sense that Romanticides is 80% because 'cause they've blended 2 of the most popular genres together for that age range.
exactly,
So it makes sense.
exactly. And
Just
that doesn't
saying.
even count the Games of Thrones people or
Oh,
all of
no.
these people. I mean, you
I
have a
know.
huge, huge audience. So why not mix it up?
Mhm. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. But you guys, you know that me and Russell are going to continue these fun conversations that we have. He's going to keep learning and diving into this romance, and I'm here for it because romance is always ever changing, subgenres, new ones being created all the time. So we're going to just keep educating Russell, having these fun conversations. But you guys, we hope that everybody has a fantastic Monday, a great rest of your week. Coming up, gosh, it's going to be September, you guys. Oh my gosh, Halloween's almost here. But until
Yay.
then, bye for now, everybody.